Welcome to No Strings Attached Street Ministry. Well, here in the United States, we just went to a major election and voted in Donald Trump. And a few days later, we've had nothing but a bunch of rogues out there creating trouble and wanting to burn down their own towns, which I never did really understand that method and that methodology. But that saying, I think it's just a bunch of brats out there that doesn't know how to grow up. So it shows you the results of what happens when you take away the parent's right to be a parent and to instill parental guidance in a young child's life. This is the result that you have to deal with at a later life. And unfortunately, this has been going on for over 30 years, which that's 2 generations now out. With that said, just want to explain to you a little bit what I do. My ministry, I'm a street minister. I go out and out of love and go out and try to help people with their broken hearts and their broken minds. I don't go out and solicit them. I just go out quietly and sit and wait for God to bring the broken ones to me. So I don't advertise that in any way, to lure them in. The only thing I do is have the signs on my side of my truck to let them know I'm here. And they come to me willingly at all times, day and night, and seek out the wisdom that they feel that I have. What I've got to understand is, what I've seen is the kids, the younger generation, which we can call the X generation, and the millennials. See, these children has been abused. They've been not being able to actually get proper discipline, through a family. But then they've also been taught and told that they have to go get themselves in hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt for school in hopes to get a job, and then they find themselves at the end of their school with a degree that means nothing, that has no abilities to even be able to make them marketable for a job. And then we expect them to try to survive off of minimum wage. And the only jobs that we offer them is a minimum wage job. This is why I voted for Trump. See, I'm a retired businessman. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. I've created many jobs for many people. And a lot of people just don't understand the drive of an ownership of someone that owns their own business. The people that own their own business do that to help others, actually, in the process of trying to better their own lives and give them a little bit extra on the side. Let's take it down to just one single man. I'm in the air conditioning business, and I did service business. So let me give you a few facts that I know how to speak well in the language that I understand. Now, out in the business, when I was in business, I charged my customers $45 per hour to do their work, plus parts and materials. I paid a man anywhere from $18 to $20 an hour as they worked for me. I also bought them a vehicle, paid the insurance, and supplied their tools and supplies to keep them on the road. Now, although that I'm paying them $20 an hour, I would work them anywhere from 8 to 10 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. And they would probably bill out an equal, maybe 4 hours a day, or even maybe 6 hours total a day of wages charged to the customers. The rest was all calculated in as driving time and downtime as they sat and waited for the next jobs to come in. Now, besides, let's say if it was just 100% to 100%, in other words, I could charge every dollar for every moment that I had them on the road. Let's take those figures intact as well. So I charge a customer $45 an hour. I pay my man $20 an hour. So that leaves me $25. You don't understand the taxes to keep that man in line is 14.5%. I have to match just to pay his Social Security and his income tax. Out of that, then I have an insurance policy that I need to cover him. And in my insurance rate is 55%. So every dollar that I pay him, it costs me 55 cents per dollar to just cover him with workman compensation insurance. That completely almost eliminates all profits just to keep him there in a job. And what happens is most employees feel that they're not being paid enough and they're not being paid fairly. So they do nothing but lay around and slack around and waste time and do anything they can to not work and come up with excuses and call in sick and you name it. It's just the same old rat race, which makes it even more difficult for a company to stay in business. And until people realize that they have to produce at least enough to pay their wage, they'll never have a chance of a good paying job. And then on top of that, now you have where the government, let's say I build a product. And I built this product and I figure out what my cost is to build this product. And now I've got tariffs and things and deals that the government has made against my competitors worldwide. In other words, I have to charge, said $25 for this product. Now the government gives a deal to like China somewhere else that's not as good to their people, and they allow them to come in and they'll come in and say at $25, well, our government will give them back a big portion of that just to be able to help them out. And then in turn they can reduce their pricing to undercut me and to drive me out of business. That's one thing I've never really understood as well. But anyway, you got to understand, the reason I voted for Trump was because he's a businessman. He understands that. And all businessmen have to do everything they can to find out what's good for us. And this was his first promise to us, was to treat America like a business and make us profitable again. Put the jobs back into the people here. Just remember, to make anybody happy and content for the common man is to be able to have a job and hold a job to where he can afford to pay what he needs to do to survive and still have his weekends to go drinking and having fun. That's usually all a man normally asks, is a way of a better life. And that's his ideal of better life, is to be able to save and put a little bit of money in savings, be able to take his family to Disney World, let's say, if that's what he wants once a year, have a week's vacation. It's very simple. It's not really there. The problem is it's not what the common man feels and the businessman feel. We all feel basically the same way. But we have to understand we have to do things differently, and we have to look at things differently in our own eyes on how we know. See, the common man has no clue what it takes to be in business. So they don't understand our side. But yet we're just like them, so we understand their side very well. So we understand that. And then you get yes, there's bad people in all of them. There's some of them that make millions off of you and slave drive you, and they just don't care about you. But the reason that they do that and they feel that way is because they've been beat up by both sides so heavily that they just said, screw it, and we're just going to get everything we can get and screw anybody else, including our own people. Thus, then you have the rogue Democratic ran corporations that want to drive everybody else out of business because that's how they do it. Now, how they do that and still manipulate you is they have people and they have advertising and they pay for all this to lobby the government and everything else and all this advertising, meeting advertisement and stuff to convince you of the craziness that they want to call. I'll tell you another thing that I found when I'm on the road. What's so funny is people say, oh, there's so much evil in this world and there's so much craziness going on and you should be feared this and feared that. God tells us to fear, never fear. Never to fear. He tells us many, 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 many times in the Bible to not fear. The reason he tells us this is because it's all an illusion. I have been in the inner cities, Chicago, New York City, Illinois, you name it, Miami. I've been in some of the so-called worst neighborhoods you could possibly ever want to go. And yes, there is evil. There is things that happen out there that you can see, and that's not perfect. But you know what? I've never had a day's trouble with anybody on the road in the last 10 years in doing this. Yeah, it's probably risky for me to take care of and to have to deal with. And I probably do put myself in some situations that could possibly even cause, some harm to me. But God's got me covered. He's got my back. All I'm saying out there is, guys, don't let the media brainwash you, telling you all how bad it is in this world. Let me ask you a question. Take your own little life and look around your life and ask me, how often does bad things happen to you on a daily basis? Once a year? Twice in your whole life? That's pretty good odds. If it's only twice or 3 times in your whole life you've seen and felt the repercussions of evil. What I'm saying is be focused. Be focused on yourself. Love your neighbor and love your neighbor as yourself. Remember, there's no racist out there. Yeah, there's been times when people feel that way, but that's all because we've been brainwashed that way. But let me tell you, when it comes one man on man and 2 men out of the blue come up and meet and shake hands, I don't care if they're black, white, Cuban, Spanish, Australian, I don't care what it is. We have the ability to love each other. And 90% of the time, we do just that. It's only when we go out in the world and seek trouble will we find it. If you go out trying to seek to find love, you'll find it. I've been really, you could say, disappointed in this world lately. And unfortunately, every war that we've had in this country has been done in the reasons or the mindset of religion. And most of it, you got to understand, religion is not Christianity. Christianity is here to save you and rescue you and to teach you to love and to teach you compassion. Religion was designed by the world to entrap you, to control you, to manipulate you. This was the reasoning of why there's so much war, because of the name of religion. And unfortunately, it's matched to the same God that we all serve. So all I'm saying to you is, get back to your Bibles. Seek the relationship of Christ. Seek your relationship with God Himself. The more you seek His face, the more you'll find it. I promise you that. The more you intend to set out to do good, the more good you'll find in this world. Because you know why? You're creating it. You create your own air around you. It's your spirit that attracts evil, or your spirit attracts good. So, I could go on and on and on, and I'm already up to 16 minutes, and most people on my blogs don't even watch more than 3 minutes anyway, so I'm probably just talking to myself. But if you are still talking and paying attention, all I got to do is ask you one thing, is to pray for your fellow man. Have compassion for your fellow man. And if you see someone sparking off about racism or some other down or some other evil, set them in their place right then and there, compassionately and with love. And explain to them why they feel the way they feel. Show them why they feel the way they feel. Convince them to feel differently. Show them that it is possible. Be that example for them to understand. So, God bless you all. This is an update. There's an update about my little homeless girl that I was telling you about. I wanted to sort of fill you in on her. She's normal. Things are going great. She's back with her family. She's learned a lot of lessons. She's done a lot of growing up. So there's a lot of really good things that's happened with her life as well. And God has been the glory, and He's definitely been the one that's created a lot of change in even her family. So, keep saying prayers for her. Things will finally, straighten up with them, and she's well on her way to becoming a nice young adult and growing and prospering. God's really laid good blessings on her, and it's been tough. A lot of 3, 4 o'clock in the morning type, discussions with her. I had to do a lot of repair work from what she's gone through in her life to be able to get her into this position. But, God's been good, and He's allowed me the opportunities and the right words to be able to counsel her and to show her through my example on how this can actually change her life. And that's just what God has me do. And I'm on the road. Pray for me. If you possibly helps fine and helps always, wondered. You know that I do this as a sacrifice. It's something I do, and I do the best I can with what little bit I have, and God keeps me going in some way somehow. And if you want to help me out, you can donate to my PayPal account. There's other ways. Just let me know, and I'll be able to help you find a way to get it to me. All I say is just keep on trucking out there, world. I mean, there's a lot of things that God's showing me over the last couple years, and now it's all starting to come together and make sense. So God bless you all. Have a great day.